My cabbages! Low, man. My cabbages!
Are you guys enjoying the stream today? What's up, everybody? Good morning from Bangkok, Thailand. This is Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Hope you all are doing well out there, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for being here on this impromptu episode. We actually have some big updates, which is why I'm doing this at 6 o'clock in the morning, because there are some things that I want to straighten out, especially before all of the other channels, especially the clickbait channels, the AI channels, get this wrong. We got to get this right and get the facts right on the Legal Mindset and set the narrative straight, which is what we do, getting the facts out there. Your only place for accurate reporting on the Ramzi Khalid Ismail Johnny Somali case. That's here in the house. So this is not my normal time. This is way earlier than my normal time. Actually, I haven't slept yet. Because I was working on this, thinking about this topic, making some phone calls, doing some stuff to get here and talk to you guys today. So it's good to see everybody here in the house today. As you come in, make sure to hit the like button, and we're gonna get into it today. And I guess we'll start with Tank Rat with 50 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much, Tank.
Emotional damage.
Ramsey starting out with an L, because you know he's watching, and you know he's hating Nav's memberships. Willie Pierce says, question, do you have on-time phobia? I was literally on time today. I watched the counter go down 3, 2, 1, and I hit go at 1. So I was precisely on time today. Okay, so we're going to get into it today, and I'll try to keep it to be relatively compact. But we've got two big things to talk about, and they're actually things that Johnny Somali is going to try to claim as victories, but are actually massive L's. And they're actually not what a lot of you guys are talking about in the chat. A lot of you guys in the chat are focusing, and I've seen like it being kind of spammed about North Korean propaganda and singing Kim Jong-un songs. I know a lot of clickbait channels want you to focus on that. That is actually more of a distraction than it is. So I'm not actually going to be talking about that today because it's not as important as some others might want you to think. However, there are two massive things which you should really focus on if you want to focus on what matters legally. Well, the first one here is we have Yu Dal-gun. Now, some of you may know Yu Dal-gun. He, of course, is the UDT member, which is a member of the Korean version of the Navy SEALs, Yu Dal-gun. I did an interview with him. He's an awesome guy, great guy. We are still in contact with him. I'm still up to date with him. And I have been the kind of go-to contact there to get information from Western content creators to Korea and to Korean content creators, including Yu Dal-gun. And that kind of played out today in a very interesting manner. And I want to talk about that today because no one has really talked about what came through and some awesomeness in the case of Yu Dal-gun. So in case you guys don't know, Johnny Somali challenged and provoked Yu Dal-gun to come find him and catch him and come after him. And in case you haven't seen the clip, we'll play it right here. This is, of course, Johnny challenging Yu Dal-gun back in the day. This is a while ago, but challenging him to come and find him. Watch this.
Dong Day Moon, come. Dong Day Moon, come. Dong Day Moon. Dong Day Moon, come to Dong Day Moon, Dong Day Moon. Come. Come, Dong Day Moon, come, nigga.
Yo, please.
he found out really quickly that he indeed did come and did indeed punch him in the face. Once again, I think we do need the other clip. Although this is not Dalgoon, I think it stands up to the test of time.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
So he was charged for that. He was charged for that criminally. He was charged for the actual assault, right? So that was a charge that came against him. He also was charged with stalking of Hank and of Somali. So Dalgoon did face criminal charges. And I knew this when I interviewed him. And there's a lot of stuff I left off the table because I knew that charges were pending and charges would come after him. Now, a lot of people are asking, why was he charged? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Number one, you can't make exceptions in the system. You have to lay these things out and deal with them uniformly. That's one thing. Another thing is the discouraging of vigilante justice. Obviously, they don't want to have folks going out there and engaging in vigilante justice. So there's some sort of interest in that in the system. But we now have a relative conclusion to that saga. So Dalgoon was facing around 10 million won. It's about 7,000 USD in penalties, right? So that is in penalties to the government he had to pay. Now, $7,000 to the government, not to Johnny Somali, not to Hank, not to anybody else, to the government. It goes straight to the government. They don't get a dime of it. None of that goes into the criminal case towards Johnny or Hank or anybody else. It goes straight there. So here's what happened. And some people said, let's fund it. It's already done. It's already done. So here's what ended up happening. What ended up happening was some messages went out there, and I'm going to pull this one out here. And this is, I believe, the Deserto post. Let me get this one here. Which says, I just did what I had to do as a Korean citizen. Korean Navy SEAL YouTuber fined up to $7,000 after attacking. This was a little premature because at the time he had only really been fined about 2,000 roughly, and the rest of the 5,000 was pending. But that said, it was predicted to come in at that amount. And a American YouTuber, some of you guys may know him, Donut Operator, said, I will pay that fine for him. So Donut Operator came through and he contacted me and he said, how much is left on that fine? Because he had put up a PayPal. I showed it on my channel. Other people showed it. Dalgoon put up a PayPal and he said, give me donation. So he had already collected about $2,500–3,000 worth. So out of that 7,000, he already had about 3. So when I talked to Donut and I told Donut this, I'm like, hey, look, he's already got about 3. He came through and he dropped the other 4,000 to you, Dalgoon, right? Dropped it on him. So boom, shakalaka, Dalgoon gets the cash he needs to fully pay off the government. Massive, massive, massive W. And this is something that Somali was cackling about. He was laughing about. He was like, ha ha, he's got to pay money for this. Him and Hank were, having a grand old time in Hanky Poo's apartment. And of course, I put out this tweet. Big thanks to Donut Operator for covering the fines imposed for delivering a punch to Ramsey Khalid Ismail for his insults to the Statue of Peace, Korean people, and attacks on women and children, which are going to become more relevant later. So in this case, that is now handled. That is now his criminal case is completely handled. Oh, he's in the chat. Oh, big thank you. Since Donut's in the chat, thank you so much for that. And once again, this is an example of turning something that was supposed to be a Somali W. Somali was parading around. He was dancing around in his boxer shorts, with Hank, doing a striptease. And he was having a grand old time thinking that he'd sunk Dalgoon. This was the end of Dalgoon's life. It has not impacted him at all. In fact, Dalgoon has said, if he collects more money, because he's likely with other donations to collect a little bit more, He said he will either do one of two things. He will put it towards towards a charity or put it towards his civil suit. Now I'm going to explain this because this is actually very important. So Dalgun had to pay this, and obviously this is the win for Dalgun because he doesn't have to pay anything. It's all covered. But Hank and Johnny are threatening to file a civil lawsuit against Dalgun, which means the criminal case is done, and now Hank and Johnny are saying we're going to file a civil lawsuit because Hank will sue anything. Hank will sue like a fly for landing on his shoulder, right? And guys, please don't spam all caps. I know we have done it in the chat. I know you guys are excited, but no spamming, no spamming. I love you guys. So he has threatened a civil lawsuit. Now, here's the interesting thing about a civil lawsuit and why this is not going to be the W that people think it is. So here's the thing. A civil lawsuit in Korea requires a massive deposit. So you've got to pay the deposit. More than that, you've got to pay your own attorney's fees. So you don't get attorney fee recovery in a civil lawsuit. You've got to pay your own fees. Mind you, Johnny is broke. So where is Johnny going to find money for a massive deposit and on top of that to pay his own lawyer? This is not there's no public defender for a civil lawsuit. So he's going to have to pay his own lawyer. He's going to have to leave a huge deposit. And here's the kicker. Here's the real W. Here's the best part. Dalgun can just fucking ignore it. In Korea, and in many other places, but in Korea, there's no requirement that you pay the civil judgment. So actually, Dalgun can just take a small hit to his credit. And mind you, he's actually already bought all the assets he needs. He's got a car, he's got a house, he's got everything else he needs. So he could go out and just say, fuck you to Johnny Somali and Hank and not pay a dime. You know, he's never going to be forced to transfer any money to Johnny Somali, even if he went and won his civil lawsuit. Even if he won. And by the way, he's got to do all these things and go to trial and win. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. All right. Fallen Hero, 4567, gifted 1 Legal Mindset membership. Take It Period gifted 20 Canadian. Says, I'm hoping that case goes until next year. I'm on deployment in South Asia and the Straits of Taiwan, and Seoul is one of our major ports. It will probably be going on. So maybe a chance to check out RKI and some good food and drinks. Yeah, go say hi to Hank. Petrolhead for 9198 for 10 says, sheltering in place because of tornado warning. I'll be damned if I miss a Legal Mindset live stream. Hey, welcome. Be safe out there. Axum Outdoor Adventures with 50 Legal Mindset memberships.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Thanks, Axum. Appreciate that. Also, thank you, Take Rat, Axum, big gifters today, making Johnny big mad. Uric Serena, Ginblade says, huge W for Dalgun. Donut is a Giga Chad. He is absolutely a based bro for doing that. I really, really appreciate that. Mike Brown for 10 says, best wishes from St. Paul, Minnesota. Hey, well, God bless you up there. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're safe. Your family, friends, everybody's doing good. Glad to have you here. Linux Guy says, I'll raise 4K if it means RK gets a solid punch. Now, so his fines have already been paid off on this. I imagine if he had a civil lawsuit and he wanted to crowdfund that, people would crowdfund Dalgun on that as well, right? And beyond that, there's even people that have said, "Hey, Dalgun, I'll crowdfund you if it happens again." But I would not recommend to Dalgun that he engage in that again, because obviously the second offense could end up a more severe punishment, and I don't want that for Dalgun. But that said. There are people that are willing to come up for him. And the amazing thing that these Korean streamers have said, and Dalgun wrote me today, and Dalgun said, Oh my God, Andrew, thank you so much. This is beyond what I could have expected. I'm beyond thankful and grateful to all of you, to all the foreign YouTubers, to the foreign supporters, to the people overseas. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for supporting this coverage. And thank you for supporting us on this quest to stop Somali and get him out of our country. This is absolutely something that Dalgun and I are on the same page about. And, he's a really good guy, and I am glad that he got this handled. Reptim for 10 says, who is this blonde lost goblin on my stream who is still under investigation? We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the investigation part, because that's the second part of this, which is a very interesting Uno reverse. We're going to talk about that. Gunner, member for 16 months, says, Gura is graduating. Thanks for everything. Yeah, Gura is graduating. That is sad. That's sad. I did another stream on that, and there'll be some clips out on that. South Korean prison goon says, see you soon. Oh, I got it. See you soon, Somali. Cough when I feel the tip. I'm sorry. Cough when you feel the tip. There you go. Super Create for 5 says, Donut and the rest of unsubscribed Posca guys are awesome. All of us are veterans, support each other. That's awesome. Yeah, I do hope, maybe one day I'll get out there to shoot with them and hang out and be on the podcast. That'd be really cool. Rich Hudson as a new member. Big Buddhist for 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you. Have you covered RKI's latest court outfit plans? I believe Ramsey said he was going to show up in a KKK outfit. Now, I think that's a joke. I don't think he has anywhere that would make him a KKK outfit in South Korea. That said, he is more than welcome to try to show up in anything and see what the court does about it, right? Tank Imperator 20 Canadian says, Donut scoring wins. First the unsubscribed podcast, and then the Buffalo school system, and now this. I'm going to open a bottle for those two. Here's the vets making the world a better place even after their service is done. Well, I don't have any alcohol in here, but drinks this water. I'll take a nice chug of water to that. The first charity I raised money for was a veterans charity, which I'm happy to have a lot of veterans as part of the community. And really, they contribute a lot, and they contribute a lot to South Korea specifically. So I know there's a special bond between the armed forces of America and the Republic of South Korea. Tankrat said the media is still getting RKI charges wrong. I read one article. He said he pled guilty to deepfakes. Yeah, the problem is, guys, a lot of these channels are just saying stuff because they want to generate articles. They want to generate headlines. They're really inaccurate. It's really infuriating for me how bad they are. I get some of the nuanced stuff, but the problem is that a lot of these slop channels and a lot of these other ones are they're playing a game of telephone with my information or with information that's out there, and they're just putting out bad messaging. For example, saying he's pled guilty to everything that's not true, or that the trial is over, which is not, or that there's been sentencing, which there's not, or that he's already been gifted 50 million years in jail, which he's not. So stay tuned. We're going to go step by step and get this thing correct. And actually, the second half, and where Somali thinks he's clever, we're going to get to that. I have been very specific with the words I use, very specific. So you guys, we're gonna pay attention to what is and is not on point. JP said, sorry, boss. I said donuts in the chat. Emotes, not donuts in the chat. Got it. Oh, that's cool. Mi scusi. Fun for $4.99 says, fundraiser to help get RKI to elevator shoes and get his buck teeth fixed. Did you get my image of RKI 20 years from now picking cabbage in prison? I think I did, but I've been focused on this, so I didn't pull it up, but I will for the next one. Baby Mine says, can RKI still get charged for playing the national anthem in North Korea? Also, he had his chat join in. Probably not. I know a lot of other channels want to make big deals about smaller things. I focus on the stuff that I think Korea will prosecute. If I don't think Korea will prosecute it, I don't waste too much time on it. I'm answering your super chat, but that's about as far as it's going to go on that. I do not think he will be charged on that. And once again, I call things fairly. I call things balls and strikes. He's not going to be charged on that. And not for that. Not going to happen. But there's other things that he could be charged with. Kwang Lee for 5 says RKI is going to need to stand in the street corner with Hank to earn money for a civil lawsuit, if you know what I mean. But I don't know if they earn that much. I don't know. Might have to put him hard to work. Sir Gilbert Cartier says he's making brown folks look bad to foreigners. I hope he learns a valuable lesson. Yeah. And you know what's funny? I've talked to some people, some expats of color, and they've said, look, the locals know people that are expats, people that are not, but it does hurt the image, and it does hurt people wanting to visit. So when they have relatives and stuff, they're afraid to come over because, Somali is acting up. And I get that. I understand that feeling. I will say this though, come to Asia, be respectful. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. GGG for €1. Who cares for 5 says the irony with Johnny wearing KKK outfit is that his ancestors fought and died to fight off the KKK. His parents would most likely be outraged. Cody Sheed says 2.5 speed for the emotional cabbage. We'll give you an emotional cabbage. I got you.
Emotional cabbage.
T-Dot says, did you see donut operator sent 4K to Dalgoon? Yes, I literally just talked about that. So yes, donut operator sent 4K to Dalgoon. It's all taken care of. If there's any leftover money, it'll go to the civil lawsuit, which Johnny will ultimately take an L in because he won't be able to collect. And beyond that, he's got to put a huge amount of money down and pay his lawyer. So he's going to come out of that losing money, which is amazing for me. Neffy, the Space Warrior, says, on a scale of 1 to 8,001, how cooked is Somali? 9,000. Wojo for 5 says, donuts make good golfers because there's always a hole in one. Oh.
No. Wait.
Too early for puns. Kobe Alley for 1. Thank you. Tater Tot said, I'm conflicted about something. RK is staying free bankrupts them, which is good, but it also subjects Koreans with antics, which further annoys me. I understand Tater Tot, and when I spoke to Korean news, I'll give you the one thing. And by the way, I think they're doing some editing and stuff with the interview, so it might take a little bit longer to get out. They put stuff out when they put it out. They said Wednesday and maybe Thursday, Friday, who knows. But one thing I said is that Westerners don't necessarily understand the Korean system, but it is working because it is bankrupting him. Asian Dragon 456 for 1999 said, Andrew, Sailor Moon, and I want to know why Johnny Somali said he wants to spread STD on you and Korean women. Can it be accurately true that he was positive for STD, or is that defamation on to himself? Once again, it's a credible threat because he's talked about going to get HIV or collecting HIV from somebody who is HIV positive. He talked about going to old prostitutes. He talked about the people he associates with. I mean, if you listen to the people he associates with that are engaging in high risk sexual activity, there's a credible possibility. Warren A for 5 Canadian says, streaming illegal mindset on a TV, RKI got even uglier looking at that size. And that's hard because he's already pretty ugly. Petrolhead 9198 become a new member. Chris Sketch says, is it true that he's going to wear a white robe to the court? Well, we'll have to see, right? We will have to see. Species 316 says, praise Zord. GGG said, Vitali cameraman got arrested. Really, Chris Dantes got arrested finally. That is... Oh, there it is. He did get arrested. Did he not? Nice. So that is great news. I'll have to cover that in a separate video, but that's really great news. He was finally caught after so much shit talking, after threatening to sue me for defamation, just like Johnny Somali. Right? Just like Johnny Somali. And I'm gonna show the article here because this is actually pretty good. This is Vitali Zodorovsky's videographer. Or Zodovetsky's. So he is now arrested. Christopher Dantes, aka Sky Lane, has been arrested. That is fantastic. Obviously, they have the right to defend themselves in court. But it is good to know that justice is being served in the Philippines. W Philippines. Natalie Braithwaite says, RKI, my cabbages. GGG, got that one from GGG. Does South Korea have a national lottery? What do you mean? For conscription or like the lotto? Like, I mean, what's the point with that question? It's kind of confusing. Puka Darling says, Go to Nan while you're displaced. My Thai family is there. Nan. I am still in Bangkok. I'm only out of my apartment for another 2 weeks, but I'm back in Bangkok because that's where business is. Hijikata says, you're the only channel I go to for RKI info. Thanks for the coverage. My pleasure. I'm going to get you accurate information today. Gary Lee says, hey, Dal, any extra money you have left over, you can keep it. Also, I hope he doesn't get a criminal record. He does not. He is not. It's going to be taken care of. Kathy Swamp Queen says, Mango Mindset, how's the finger? I just took the Band-Aid off, but it was looking a little rough. Looking a little rough. Which one was it over here? Anyways, it's recovered. It's recovered, but it was looking a little like spongy. Take it, Peter. Says, as a Danish veteran now serving in the Canadian Navy, world is crazy. Thank you for the charity streams. Which one was it for? Oh man, Danielle would know. It's 6 a.m. in the morning, so my mind. Then that was months ago, but I would have to double check. There were a couple that we'd gone through, and we ended up ultimately gathering about $8,000 for veterans. But Danielle could get you the name that we donated to. Nick Gross says, crossing my fingers for max sentencing and making an example out of RCAF for $4.99. Thank you. Brian for 10 says, can you rank order what you think the total amount of prison time served for Vitali as cameraman or RKI? I think it would be Vitali maybe number 1, RKI number 2, and the cameraman number 3. That would be interesting. Okay, I'm going to skip. Okay, guys, I've answered the question about the North Korean propaganda, so I am going to skip ones about that. Real Solo Sakoa says, the article says he's been charged, not arrested. Well, I'll go back and get more information on that. However, the good news is that they are taking action fast, very fast. Yurik Serena says, this is for Philippines getting a big W. Boo Boo says, man, you're up early. Thank you for the Philippine pesos. Pirlo Axe 02, NZ899 says, I'm loosely following the RKI case. When is this court date? Great coverage, by the way. Thank you. I try to do my best. To make sure I'm doing good coverage. And by the way, oh yeah, this is another one. I was pulling up the Vitali information. I guess this is the one over here in Deserto. Vitali's cameraman arrested and facing charges. Boom. So there you go. All right. Says, who would win, RK or Mango? What about the cabbage? Germ70 says, did you ever think Johnny was going to manage the screw up so much he'd be arrested for 5 to 10 years? Well, if he keeps getting arrested as the case goes on, it's only going to make it worse. Proxy 4818 says, I wonder what RKI is going to be left when Hank turns on him. Pretty sure it's going to come. All the mods, as far as I know, have either distanced themselves from him or turned on him outright, and Gino left him. Some of them left and came back, and some other people are around, but they all eventually turn on Johnny because there's no real loyalty there. Kettlefire Charmer Hilta says for 10, gonna miss both Mume and Gura. By the way, in regards to Cinder slandering multiple creators, while it's not illegal, wouldn't it be enough to prevent Cinder going after gamer subs if they cut ties with her? Well, I'm not sure exactly the part of the question. I mean, there's a lot of liability tucked in there, and go watch my VTuber stream. I answered that, so you're gonna have to go back to that stream. Lacey Bradshaw became a new member. Isabel Duncan says, sorry I'm late. Wasn't there another stream? Nope, this is the only stream I've had today. Pilot Girl says, Hanky Poo needs a number to form the list. There's no charges against Hank right now. Let's be accurate. All right. So I want to bring us to the second big thing. This is the second large thing that I wanted to discuss with you today, because Ramsey really thinks that this is a W for him. He truly believes that he got a W. By the way, we got a W because we hit the goal. So thank you so much for hitting the goal. Appreciate you guys getting there. Thank you. Yes. Now, let's talk about the thing that Johnny thinks he won on, because he thinks he got a W. but it's very important to show that he did not. And of course, to do that, we've got a trusty, a dusty PowerPoint. That's right, we got a PowerPoint here today. Of course we do. Of course we do. All right. Here's today's RKI update, the last one for April over there for you guys. It's actually May for me, still April for you guys, but let's get this PowerPoint going. So here's the W for Johnny, and I want to read this out. So this appears to be authentic. This appears to be authentic. So this appears to be a message on Kakao Talk from the Supreme Prosecutor's Office Criminal Justice Information System, which says Criminal Justice Information System Business Notification. We would like to inform you of the disposition result of your case. And then this is case number is there. For more information, please visit Criminal Justice Portal, and there's a Criminal Justice Portal. Violation of the Child Welfare Act. Coercion of sexual intercourse against a child, sexual harassment. Not guilty, parentheses, insufficient evidence. Not guilty, insufficient evidence. So this was supposed to be a massive Somali W. And on its face, it does look that way and seem that way. But we're going to talk about why it's not. We're going to talk about why it's not. But let's first get to Somali gloating about it on X. And I have gotten rid of his information because I give zero free clout to his social media profiles. So Somali was saying, all the child welfare charges against me have been dropped. Not that one charge specifically, but whether or not the obstruction involves harassment of women and children is another thing, because in fact, women and children were harassed in other circumstances. But that said, all the child welfare charges against me have been dropped by South Korean prosecutors. Fake news media, gossip YouTubers, and wannabe journalists must retract their false claims immediately or face legal consequences for defamation. You've been warned. Tough guy Somali talking tough. Well, is everybody going down for defamation? Are we all doomed? Should we all quit the internet now? Because Johnny Somali, the slide can arrest was clickbait. They clickbaited us. Okay. But let's get back to the point here. With Johnny Somali, should we all apologize? Should we all apologize? No. And there's three reasons why. Three big reasons why. First, and I want to say without first or foremost, but first, Johnny Somali has 100% confirmed the authenticity of our leaks. So Johnny Somali literally told on himself and confirmed the fact that we knew this information, what, about a month ago? And we got this information out when no one else knew this information. We got this information out there. And what did we say? Did we say that he was guilty of it on this channel? Not on this channel. Now, maybe other channels may have said that, but on this channel, did I ever say he was guilty of it? No. I said he was under investigation for it. That exact word. That word means something. Guilty of a crime, convicted of a crime, and under investigation are two different things. It is factual that he was under investigation for that. And maybe, and here's the other thing too, under investigation for more charges related to similar acts. And this is where you got to be very careful with your language. And a lot of other channels don't do that. They're not careful. They're slop. They just put out stuff. They want to get it out real fast. They want to just say stuff. They don't know what they're talking about. But saying that he was under investigation has always been correct. And there is no retraction to issue on that. Zero retraction. In fact, he's confirmed that he was being investigated for that, which is great because it shows we were right. But it actually opens another door. So Somali threatened everybody with defamation. But what he doesn't know, and he's trying to silence the media. Mr. Free Speech advocate is trying to silence the media. But guess what he just did? By posting this publicly and confirming it himself, he has opened himself up to global coverage. He has opened himself up to every single country in the world under any law covering that he was under investigation for child sexual harassment, because he has without a doubt confirmed it. And this is a matter of public interest. Because this is a matter of public interest, almost every country allows you to cover that because he is this criminal, to cover that openly. So even Korean media can cover this. Even Korean media can talk about this. And he's openly said it. So there you go. We can say he's been investigated for this. And not only that, all of YouTube, there's been YouTubers that haven't covered this. Now they can cover that. But beyond that, and here's the best part, here's the juiciest part, here's the spiciest part. Here's the stuff that hits you just right. That hits you just like that.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Or like 10 memberships from Robert Von Beek. Thank you, Robert Von Beek. Appreciate that. Also, Adam Ufo for 5 Legal Mindset memberships and Andres for 50 Legal Mindset memberships.
Emotional damage.
Thank you, Andres. Thank you so much for your very generous support today. All the big gifters. Please say thank you to those gifters. Very based. Also, Valentine as a new member. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, big gifters. Appreciate you. Well, let's get to the spiciest part because I don't want to make you wait any longer. The charges can be reopened. The charges, ladies and gentlemen, can be reopened. There is nothing preventing them from being reopened with additional evidence that can be submitted. Unlike in America, not even in America, unlike in other places where sometimes charges go away, this went away at the prosecutor's level. So the prosecutors decided not to bring it. But guess what happens if there's a bunch of public sentiment from global media coverage that says, we believe that he should be charged with this, and we believe there is evidence. This never hit the trial stage. And because this was not dismissed at the trial stage, it was just the prosecutor saying, hey, we're not going to bring that, it can be reopened. Those charges can be brought again. There's nothing stopping them from being brought again. There's nothing stopping from new charges or different charges from coming down the line. So yes, it's not reopening a case. Whoever said that in the chat, it's not a case, it's a charge. Let me explain, because some of you are new to this, but my veterans, you know what it is. It's the stages chart. Da, 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 da. So this was dropped at stage 3. Stage 4 is trial. This was dropped at stage 3. At stage 3, they can do whatever the heck they want. They can take the charge away. They can add it. They can collect it. So step 1 is somebody files a criminal complaint. Step 2 is the police look into it. Step 3 is the prosecutor investigates it, and then they can go for indictment. Then they can bring it to trial. So this had gotten all the way to step 3 and almost to step 4. but there's nothing stopping it from coming back, from resurrecting itself at stage 3 and going to step 4 again. It's not going to have to go through the whole process again from 1 to 4. It would get reopened at step 3 and go right in, which is beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. Also, Isabel Duncan, thank you for the 5. And that grumpy old guy, welcome as a new member. So those are pretty big. I want to put this again because, Somali wants to think this is a huge W for him, but it's just confirming our accuracy, confirming our reporting. It's opening it up to coverage everywhere. Everybody can say he was investigated for this. And it's a million IQ move on the part of Korea because they knew, I guarantee you, Korea knew that they would put that out there and they would get coverage, they would get more evidence because they knew Johnny was going to he can't resist. He's going to put everything online. They had to know that Johnny is going to post every single tidbit of this online. And beyond that, charges can be reopened. Charges can be reopened. Yeah, it's early in the morning, guys, so if I made 1 or 2 minor slip-ups, I do apologize. It's 7 a.m. I haven't slept. I saw this thing come across my desk, and I knew I had to get it out tonight because this is breaking news, and it could get interpreted the wrong way. But I want to make sure it's interpreted the right way. That's why I'm doing this right now. Colin says, they rope-a-doped him. That's right. Larry Power says, where's RK going to get the money to hire a lawyer to sue for defamation? Hank? He's going to have to give Hank some extra special massage. Not only that, he's going to have to sue people across the world. He's going to have to sue people in the U.S. He's going to have to sue people in Canada, in Europe, in Germany, in the U.K. He's going to have to come down here to Thailand. He's going to have to go to Japan. Oh, wait, he can't go to Japan. How's he going to do that? How's he going to collect against a content creator in Japan if he can't go to that country? Think about that for 2 seconds. He won't. Random Recruit for 1999 says, missed last stream. Just wanted to say, best way to make Cinder suffer success or toward competition, legal or not. What's scarier than lawyers is mom and dad. I'm sure they're dealing with her for behavior accordingly. Okay, thank you. Baby Mind says, please hit the like button for Legal Mindset. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Like the stream. Andre says, I hope if they go easy on Cabbage Boy, nuisance streamers flood South Korea to learn that if they let him go easy, they'll be seen as weak. I think they know that. I think they're aware of that. Phoenix says, death by peepees, and he means PowerPoint. Fat Factor for 5 says the irony of threatening to go to court is the robe. In the robe is that RK will 100% end up being the wimpy version of Robson in the season 5 of Oz. I remember that one. Big Buddhist says Streetbread hates me. It skipped my gifts again. No, it did. Big Buddhist. I'm sorry. Well, Based Buddhist giving some gifts today. Thank you so much. I think you gave, was it 5? Thank you, Big Buddhist. Give some love to Big Buddhist. He's donated over 100 gifts in the recent past. So big love for him. Sorry about that. StreamYard's can weird and sometimes it skips stuff. So I do apologize. I try to get everything. Proxy 4818 says it's like RKI is unloading mag after mag into his feet. James Bellini says, how will all this feel if RKI is self-limbs? I'm torn. He's not. Kierna says, kind of like when judge dismisses without prejudice. Yes, it's similar. But the concept is they can bring it back if they have more evidence. And, maybe we have more evidence. And by the way, if you guys want to support the team, it's helping out with getting some of that evidence filed. You can go over there to Ko-Fi/Andrew Esquire and pitch in there towards the Somali conviction team. We will help out getting that stuff filed properly with the court. Phoenix Diaz for 10s Canadian says it's like a piece of candy to a starving Somali pirate. He just can't help himself and trapped himself. Yep. John G for 2 says RKI, instead of seething, you should listen. He will not listen. King Luja for 1. Thank you so much. Tireman 99 says long time watcher, first time caller. It absolutely astounds me how he continues to double down, and he continues to make these arguments that are just loser arguments or not winning arguments. He's not going to win this overall narrative. Isabel says he wants to apologize for being right. Yeah, exactly. I got nothing to apologize for. Rigo for 10 says in South Korea, is a charge dropped like it is in the U.S.? Can the prosecutor bring charges back? That's what we talked about. They can be brought back. Eric says, with the threat of spreading disease to the Korean women, could be facing bioterrorism. I don't think it'll be bioterrorism, but it could be the HIV statute. Isabel says, is it bad? I'm excited for the trial. It's It's very exciting. Now, that's coming up in 15 days over here. We're already in May 1st in Asia. No, it's April 30th there, but it is coming up soon. Blue Bonnet says RKI's poor parents watching him destroy itself. It is sad. Phoenix Diaz says for 5 Canadian, wonder what Israel will say from his time there when he was trying to pick up underage females. Fat Factor says RKI is officially dumber than Stuttering John. Sneaky Blinder said no dislikes. I'm guessing RK and Hank are too busy. They're probably not awake. They stay up late and they wake up late. Should we get Ramsey a Dakimakura with Hank on it for those cold prison nights? Oh, he needs something to snuggle with. Valentine says about the Korean National Lottery, if RK buys some lotto tickets and wins, could he claim that money? Yeah, good luck. I mean, if he wins, technically he can, but good luck. Pilot Girl says, Lotte World going to come up with anything? They are. They have an obstruction of business charge. They also had the CHS, but they'll at least have obstruction of business one way or another. No Name says he doesn't also come to Canada either. He also can't come to Canada because he has a record. Oh. Allison for 5 says, what about the underage kids he trolled with Hank? What country would charge him for that? Well, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, Korea might have some statutes. Also, the U.S. The U.S. has long arm statutes. So the U.S. has specifically dealing with, underage stuff, shenanigans. There's some statutes that could apply to him even as an American abroad. Nick Gross says for $4.99, what happens if Hank kicks RK out of his apartment? He's going to have to be sleeping in the streets. One Day at a Time says, does this count as supporting RK's legal defense, considering all the legal advice you give him? He doesn't listen to any of my stuff. And if he just shut up, it would actually help, but he can't do that. Devil's Advocate for 5 says, if RK wants to get legal representation for defamation, he's going to need to give Hanky Poo a veto spofore, like a true soprano. Twilight Dragon 3 says, I hope RK goes to court in the robes. I want to see the Dave Chappelle skit become a reality. It won't happen, although it would be interesting to see what the judge does and how hard he's punished. It's not if he's punished, but how hard he's punished. Eric Chin said, did you file a report for the threats? I am not talking about my strategy. He says, as a fellow American, I think he should be taught a lesson. I agree, but I am not talking about my strategy against Ramsey. As you can see in situations like this, the timing of when you file evidence is very important. And I am committed to making this as painful as possible for Ramsey. Back to Common Sense Now says, have you seen the interview of Johnny's parents? No, and I do not support dragging people's parents into things. It's just something I don't support. Rigo for 20 says, yeah, I didn't realize you were going to answer my question on slide 3. A different question would be, do you think the prosecutor's office is going to reintroduce the drop charge after the convictions? I think it's possible they could reintroduce it with new evidence, not based on convictions, but based on new evidence, which they may just get. Octera says, I find RKI now worse than Cyrax on the locale. Phoenix says, these charges are like a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! With one card and the prosecutors resurrecting the charge from the graveyard. Or Magic. Magic has resurrection from the graveyard. Shoira for 5 says, idea, that's my boy's scene of ASDF movie. Hank as the dad and the ball as the cabbage until it cries, Father, help, and RKA is shown as it's launched. Stephen Miller, 499 says, Ramsey's going to find out how it feels to have a new hole torn in him and then have that hole filled with cabbage.
No. Wait.
That was a good one. Mordecai PLVN says, hi from Toronto. Do you know what RKI and Hank's favorite restaurant in Thailand? Cabbages and condoms. That's actually a good restaurant. Andres for 200. Argentina says, is it true what Nuxenor said that if he sticks his finger in the mouth of the judge, the old tradition sets that the accused can be set free since the judge cannot say anything about him? No, that's not true. Nux just pulled some stuff out and now everyone's quoting that. But no, that's not true. It's made up. So what we've got to wait for here, guys, the next thing that's really coming up is the trial itself. That will be May 16th. I do think that date is going to go ahead. So for anybody who's thinking about what day are we going to hear stuff? What day are we going to have big update? I think the next big update is obviously going to be on the 16th when we have the next trial date in which he'll have to plead guilty to certain charges. But I can also say we may have new charges coming out and officially announced in the next week or two. So we may have more that comes down the pike, and we'll just have to see in the next 14, 15 days what other charges may come down on Ramsey Khalid Ismail. Isabel Duncan for 2 Aussie said he should visit Alice Springs. I have heard about Alice Springs. All right. Listen, everybody. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. This was intended to be a very short stream. And I do appreciate that. Hopefully you guys get the important takeaways here today. I'm going to get some sleep, but we'll be back with more RKI coverage, more Vitali coverage, more news streamer coverage, more coverage in all aspects very, very soon. Smash a like button and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
You are coping the ceiling. You just can't believe what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping the ceiling. The truth it is all day, and now you are more than